barista and cashwrap company at Cafe Xombi, and is just coming off of a nasty breakup with her now ex-boyfriend, Jay. After a day of stewing in angst and a weird encounter with a customer at the cafe, we join Ree with her roommate Sandra and her roommate's boyfriend Darren as they head out for some much-needed social time at a local bar. Trollops was fairly busy, since Thursday had been claimed by the drinking weekend years ago in Pearson. Darren was already there, splayed out in a corner booth of playing space. Darren Hudson, strength 15, dexterity 11, stamina 14, IQ 18, will 16, and charisma 13, scholar 7, New England air 3, grad student 3. Was even taller than Sandra, with cafe au lait skin and teeth so white they probably had their own wattage. Darren stood to embrace Sandra with a deep kiss, then gave Ree a quick hug before the three of them took their seats. Ree's heart rushed with vicarious excitement at her friend's kiss, then went clunk with a dull ache. She was in no condition to date, not for a while. If she did, it would be out of desperation and loneliness, not desire. And that way lay madness and more hurt feelings. Plus, who would she pick? She didn't have a shortage of suitors, but going home with one of the customers at Cafe Xombi would invariably lead to an invitation for all of the other regulars to ask her out. And then she'd have to kill them all, sleep with them all, or quit. Not a great set of options. They ordered a pitcher of urban ale in a local microbrew, which Darren paid for. Despite being a grad student, the larval form of the notoriously low-earning professional academic, Darren had money to throw around because of a gloriously bourgeoisie family background. Oh, to have a wealthy family. Ree had no such family fortune, so instead of a trust fund, she had student loans the size of Mount Rainier. If there was a continuum of financial savvy, with Warren Buffett on one end, then Ree lived pretty close to the other extreme. Most of the time, she blamed her continued brokenness on budgeting for her LA trips, but that was a convenient excuse. No one had come to break her kneecaps yet, so she took it as a win. Ree sat back, letting Sandra and Darren chatter. She looked over the bar to take in the laid-back energy. She needed to recharge her social batteries, which had been flashing red most of the day, barring Anya's visit. Priya texted a few minutes into the picture, saying she was stuck at home with laundry. 2 years later, Sandra asked Ree a question, but Ree hadn't been paying attention. Ree shook her head. Sorry, what? I zoned out. Do you want to go down to Turbo's for a slice? Their pitcher was empty, and Turbo's was fantastic drinking drunk food. Is the Pope naked in the woods? Ree said. Darren raised an eyebrow, but Sandra laughed. Ree and company donned their coats again and made their way through the bar. Ree licked her lips in anticipation of the pizza. Why didn't I think of this earlier? The trio walked up the stairs to where the bar emptied out into an alley. It was just as likely to host a game of packy sack as a homeless guy selling tube socks. As she reached the door, Ree heard a shout, "Go around, fracking piece of gossip!" If Ree hadn't placed the voice by itself, which she did, the dense geek speak cursing and the fact that there were more strange noises coming from an alleyway were enough to assure her that she was hearing the frantic customer from the afternoon. Ree ducked around the corner and saw the man from earlier in the alley holding a prop lightsaber and looking even worse for wear, if that were possible. And then things got really weird. Facing him was a 12-foot-tall, green-gray-skinned beast with a bulbous nose and eyes so beady that they deserved their own craft fair. It was, for all Ree could tell, some kind of troll. Except for the fact that trolls didn't exist, and sure as hell didn't belong in the university district on a Thursday night when all she wanted to do was find someplace to drink in peace without running into one of her exes or any of the crazy customers from her job. Great. Now, archaic English, a thing that cannot be bought by one Rhiannon Anna Maria Reyes. Darren and Sandra both screamed when they saw the thing. The strange customer stepped forward, raising his lightsaber, which made the whirring hum of a high-end prop, except that the glow was too good, too bright, for any of the sabers Ree had ever seen. Ree kept a pretty close eye on the designs of the web, to see if anything was cooler for practical use than her Force FX. She hadn't found anything yet. And the plastic or glass or whatever it was way too thin on this to be practical. She couldn't even see it through the glow. And then the guy twitched forward with a quick kendo slice that cut off the troll's hand. What the F? The troll's bellow echoed through the alley, shaking dirt from the walls. The other side of the alley was a dead end into a building, so it's not like she could escape, except back into the bar. Sandra and Darren screamed from behind her, then reheard the door slam shut. Well, right. The door took a lumbering step towards Rhi, and she found her mind split in two. One part of her was so scared that she wanted to dig through the concrete to get away. But another part of her was strangely unimpressed, instead buzzing with excitement, saying, "The troll from that crap movie was better looking than this thing." The logical part of her brain said to the suddenly fearless part, "But self, that thing was on TV, and this one wants to tear your liver out through your nose. Run!" Before she could decide, the troll brought down its other massive hand toward her head. Without thinking, Rhi dove into a shoulder roll to the right of the beast's blow. She composed a letter in her mind as she rolled. "Dear Dad, thank you for enrolling me in Taekwondo when I was 5 and not letting me quit until I had my black belt. Love, your doting daughter. P.S. Trolls are real. I know, right? Crazy." Rhi rolled up to her feet, wondering how in the Wild Wild West she was going to joint lock or jump kick a 12-foot-tall monster. Then the increasingly sane customer jumped forward and slashed again, his lightsaber cutting the troll's legs off at the knees. The beast howled in pain as it collapsed to the ground. Rhi scrambled back and jumped clear of the falling troll's head, which crashed through the ground at her feet. Over the troll's body, she saw the man standing in a perfect Force Unleashed stance. He watched the troll, standing ready. After a moment, he relaxed and touched a button on the lightsaber. The too realistic blade blinked out in a moment with the requisite sound. Deactivated, it just looked like an expensive prop hilt. "Are you all right?" he asked. "The hell!" she answered, pointing at the main troll. It rolled over once, flailing for the man. "Ah!" she thought, and shuffled away another couple of steps. The bearded man jumped out of the beast's reach, unfazed. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Rhi dusted the street off with her legs. A few scrapes, nothing bad. "No, but confused as hell would apply?" "Understandable. You'll want to step back a bit more." "Why?" she asked. A second later, the dying troll popped like a burst balloon and gushed out in a puddle of viscous green-gray goop. Rhi hopped back, but the wave of goop caught up to her, lapping over the sides of her boots. She cursed absently, walking over to the man. "So who are you?" "Call me Eastwood," the man said. Rhi put her hands on her hips, thoroughly past amused and approaching Hulk Smash. "First name Clint?" she asked, one eyebrow raised. "It's a nickname." Taking another step toward Eastwood, Rhi said, "I'd like to return to my earlier question. The hell?" Eastwood gestured with his head to an open manhole in the street. "It was a troll. Came out of the sewer." Rhi gave him a skeptical look. There was no way something that big fit through a manhole. Not to mention that she still hadn't got a good explanation on the whole trolls exist fact. Eastwood nodded. "You have questions, and I can provide answers. The fact that I saved your life means you owe me the chance to explain, something I intend on doing." He took another look around the alley. "Looks clear. Come with me before the doubt settles in." He pronounced doubt with a capital letter, much the same way that her dad could say, "Rhiannon Anna Maria Reyes, come here now," when she was in trouble. Which happened a lot between her childhood science experiments, Nerf war escalation, and the avant-garde haircuts she gave their golden retriever. She said, "My friends are back there, so I'm not leaving. You can explain right here, or I can call the cops." Eastwood harumphed. "In less than 5 minutes, they won't remember what happened at all. That's what the doubt does. But it won't affect you. I can explain why I came into your store and why the troll was here, but we need to get out of this alley before something worse arrives." He looked over his shoulder again, scanning the street. Rhi snorted. "You some kind of ghetto Kenobi? Come to teach me the ways of the Force so I can become a Jedi like my father?" Eastwood flashed her a surprised look, then shook it off and pulled a lit lightsaber off from his coat. "It's what I have on hand. Either you're drunk, or I am." "Wait here," she said, not waiting for him to respond. "But only one of us just came out of a bar, Rhi," she told herself. "Ah!" Rhi turned and opened the door again. Sandra and Darren weren't in the stairwell, so she walked down the stairs to see them looking around the entranceway of the bar. Sandra looked up and said, "Oh, I thought you were still in the bathroom. Ready for pizza?" Not to sound like a broken record, but the hell! Thank you.